that for getting your attention? 17 motorcycles flash by at 130 miles an hour, led by, guess who? Last year's winner of this race, Scott Parker, emerging during the commercial break as the leader over Ricky Graham. Oh, trouble, turn 4. Rusty Rogers is in the hay bales. Slow motion replay shows you what a wild ride that was.
Yeah, but what you don't see is what triggered it. Rusty Rogers was stuck outside of Ronnie Jones. Ronnie got it sideways, got into Rusty, and boom, Rusty was down.
We'll wait for an update on Rogers as we remind you that this series concludes on the half mile of Pomona, California, October the 9th. Hope to see some of you out there. Restart of the main event. We'll have Parker up front with Graham and Carr right behind. And the preliminary indication is that Rusty Rogers has broken some ribs and is going to the hospital. We're back underway following the red flag for the crash, and Scott Parker has assumed the lead with Chris Carr second, and Ricky Graham, the man who could make history today, now riding in third. Will this at all change the strategy? Can they do anything to those motorcycles during the... Well, it doesn't change Graham's strategy, obviously. He's going to the front. Can they do anything to the bikes during the red flag to help them if they're in trouble?
Yeah, you have about 8 minutes usually at one of these restarts to do things. You can't do a lot of things, but you can do little finesse things.
Carr and Parker seem a bit stronger than they were before the red. Atherton is fourth. He had been first, so we'll see how that evolves. 32 Mike Hale makes his first showing in the top 5, and Moorhead has been pretty solid all day. Red flag or no, it has been a tight battle up front from the get-go, and my guess is it's going to be that way for the full distance. Hey, that's the spirit. Well, just as Lisa says it, Ricky Graham surrenders the lead to Chris Carr, but it's early yet. Too early to be making the move that will win the race or trying to plot that last lap strategy. What's happened is we have a 5-man battle up front. Mike Hale on the tail end of that. Remember, Steve Moorhead was running with them, but he's fallen into this melee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What do I count? 8 riders there battling for 6th place. Why do these things sometimes split into the A race up here and the B race?
Well, all it takes is a couple mistakes. You lose contact with the riders. You know Steve can run with the leaders. Right now, he's sort of like the hub of the wheel of the B race. It's just a matter of circumstances.
Moorhead, number 42, kind of pulling this whole group along. We'll be back with more. Down at Syracuse, and the pace is cranking up. Everybody chasing Ricky Graham. The pursuers are 23, Kevin Atherton, number 2, Scotty Parker, number 1, Chris Carr, and Ricky Graham, who has set a blazing pace this year in terms of the championship, is doing the same right now on the racetrack, although Atherton is an equal for him. Mike Hale has blown an engine and dropped out. He was with the leaders, but now has fallen off the pace. We talk about pace. Let's elaborate a little bit on the subject we touched on earlier, and that is the pace of this race.
Well, this is a tires racetrack, and by that I mean if you go too fast too soon, you'll wear out your tire. The race is evolving from the high 36s to the mid 36s. By the end of the race, they'll be in the low 36s.
Does there come a point in that evolution as the pace picks up where a guy says, man, I can't run that fast, and starts to drop off, or are all these guys equally matched and they come down together in terms of their lap time?
Both of those things are true.
I have trouble sometimes getting Warner on the spot no matter how hard I try. Atherton is the guy in this group, actually not in your picture, who may be in danger of losing touch as the pace comes down. Graham has been the consistent leader. Carr and Parker have squabbled over the right to run Ricky down. Scotty has a notion on the outside, elects not to pursue it. Atherton seems to be struggling a little to hang on. Ferris has emerged as 5th place ahead of Billy Herndon, Steve Beattie, and Steve Moorhead. And Moorhead now seems to be struggling a little bit. He is back in 8th place, make him 4th in that second group, the B race as we referred to it. Here are the Harley-Davidson factory teammates. Carr back in front of Parker. Both these guys have to be terribly frustrated by what Ricky Graham has done to them this year.
Very much so. I think they're frustrated because they don't know how he's been able to make such a transition in 1 year.
Point well taken. A year ago, Ricky Graham complained a lot in Victory Circle that he could keep up with number 1 and number 2, but he couldn't draft past them at the start-finish line this year. Is there really a secret crankshaft in Ricky's RS 750? Where did they find all this horsepower during the offseason? And I guarantee you nobody'd like to know the answer to that better than the guy sitting beside me, Bill Werner. But for the moment, let us focus on the other battle as Steve Moorhead gets things gathered back up and moves back into 5th spot. This has been a great race among Moorhead, Herndon, Beatty, and a host more. We're getting late in the Syracuse Mile. Ricky Graham is leading consistently, and neither Carr nor Parker have been able to draft back by him the last couple of laps. Atherton is desperately hanging on to 4th spot, and it looks more and more like Graham may be able to do what has never been done before, to win 5 of these races in a row. Are Parker and Carr working together with the draft to try to run him down?
No, I think they're working independently right now. It's a free-for-all. It's the best man. Everybody have at it.
Well, it has all come down to this. 1 lap to go. Steve Ferracci waves the white flag over Ricky Graham, Chris Carr, Scott Parker, and Kevin Atherton. Ricky Graham is a half mile away from history if he can hold off the Harley factory team through turn 3 and turn 4. Carr is there as they turn for home. Graham runs it in deep down through the little dip. Parker slid wide. Parker is off in the loose stuff. It's a 2-man battle for the victory. Carr is in perfect position to draft. Here they come to the finish line. Oh, Carr got by, but I don't know if he beat him before the stripe. Did Graham make history or not? The photo finish camera is directly at the start-finish line. Yes, Graham has been declared the winner. Here's how it looked from our angle. Past start-finish. It is a virtual dead heat, but Graham got there first. Graham wins the 5th race in a row, a new AMA record.